The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
Solar energy. Most people are not aware of the enormous potential of this environmentally safe alternate energy source. It can be used to power our cars, generate electricity for our homes, and even heat our pools. In fact, each day the Earth receives enough solar energy to heat every home in the world for an entire year. Think about that. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join me this week as today's environment explores this and other environmental solutions.
Today, City Council in effect with 9,000
reducing air pollutants by
a milestone
30%.
in
Educational programs.
Every American has 50 to 100 pounds of materials that should be disposed of only in special waste collection or recycling centers. Hazardous waste of all kinds is a serious environmental concern. Let's take a look at how some of it is being handled in a safe way.
We've seen a lot of used hypodermic needles on the news lately, not just in doctors' offices, but washing up on the beaches and buried in dumpsters. Syringes are not only a life-threatening danger to children playing on the beach, but healthcare workers as well. This year alone, over 800,000 accidental needle sticks are expected to happen to healthcare workers across America. 300 of them will probably contract hepatitis B and die. While hypodermic needles have helped save many lives, a change is needed for the safety of healthcare workers and comfort of the user. Becton Dickinson, a medical technology company specializing in syringes, is working to lower the amount of people currently using needles for medical treatment. A new system called Interlink acts like a syringe and allows for the medication to be inserted by a blunt plastic tube called a cannula. This new approach can be used by up to half of the people who would normally need a shot. When standard needles are still necessary, a new product, the Safety Lock syringe, features a built-in safety shield to avoid accidental needle sticks. After it is used, the shield slides forward to cover the exposed needle tip. This new product, along with the Safety Compliance Initiative program, is helping healthcare workers take safer measures in handling and disposing needles. Another product, designed for bedside use, has a collector, which opens automatically. A person can dispose of the used needle with a single hand. Once placed in the container, the used needles no longer pose a safety or environmental hazard. There's a great importance placed on developing and sponsoring educational programs to focus on healthcare worker safety. The company has also started an aggressive program with media ads and packaging inserts to teach insulin users how to properly dispose of their insulin syringes. This is done by breaking off the end of the needle so it may not be used again and putting the syringe in a household container. When the container is full, it should be sealed and placed in the trash or disposed of in accordance with local ordinances. It should never be recycled. Another part of the company's plan involves safe disposal of used needles and syringes. To encourage physicians and rural healthcare delivery sites to dispose of needles properly, Becton Dickinson now offers a mail disposal service. After they're used, the needles are simply dropped into a specially designed funnel-shaped opening on top of the container. When the containers are full, they're placed in sturdy shipping cartons and sent for disposal by prepaid first-class U.S. postage to BFI Medical Waste Systems. A mailing receipt from the post office and a manifest tracking form from the company provide certified documentation that the waste has been treated and disposed of properly. Becton Dickinson believes that by working with healthcare providers, they can reduce health risks to medical professionals, the general public, and our environment.
Our atmosphere, the very air we breathe, is constantly being contaminated by harmful emissions. Did you know that energy sources for heating the average American home are responsible for producing nearly 11 tons of carbon dioxide emissions each year? Today's Environment learned of one way these emissions are being monitored.
It has been more than 20 years since Congress ordered a cleanup of our nation's air through passage of the Clean Air Act. Still, 3 out of every 5 Americans live in areas where the air they breathe is a health hazard. And year after year, billions of pounds of toxic pollutants are deposited onto plant life and animal life and into the air. The 1990 amendments to these laws set new and stricter standards for the control of air pollution. They introduced restrictions in 2 particular areas: VOCs, or volatile organic compounds, and air toxins. Air toxins can lead to lung disease and other health problems. Some are even believed to cause cancer. Industry is now required to convert 90 to 95% of VOC and air toxins emissions into carbon dioxide and water. Some states expect even higher efficiency levels of 98 and 99%. One of the most effective ways for industry to reduce emissions of VOC and air toxins is through the use of a thermal or heat oxidizer, which uses heat to cause oxygen to chemically react with a molecule. Smith Engineering Company designs and builds this type of system. In this process, hydrocarbons, which are toxic pollutants, are heated and combined with oxygen to form harmless carbon dioxide and water vapor. This creates a pollution-free emission. A special thermal regeneration or heat reusing process is also utilized. This takes the remaining heat and uses it over again, saving valuable energy and the resource that made it. The process begins as cold polluted gas enters a canister filled with preheated ceramic tiles. The gas absorbs the heat and enters a combustion chamber where the oxidation process takes place at temperatures of over 1,000 degrees. The harmful hydrocarbons are then changed by a chemical reaction with oxygen in the air to a harmless carbon dioxide and water vapor. The heat remaining in the chamber is then reabsorbed by the ceramic tiles. New, cool hydrocarbon gas is preheated by this heat, and the process begins again. Since oxidation technology was introduced, there has been a misconception that has concerned the public. How is oxidation different from incineration? Incineration means to reduce to ashes. An incinerator is a standalone device that burns solid waste and adds pollution if left untreated. An oxidizer, on the other hand, is an add-on device that, in every case, reduces or eliminates pollution that would occur if the oxidizer were not there. Many oxidizers have been installed on incinerators to convert harmful pollutants into clean air. Appropriately, oxidizers were originally referred to as afterburners. So, while an incinerator could create pollution, an oxidizer destroys it. This type of technology by Smith Engineering, a member of the Hayden International Group, is helping correct the current and future manufacturing and industrial processes that contribute to our air pollution, making this a better, safer, and cleaner world for all of us.
You may not have thought about it, but by taking a shower instead of a bath, you can cut your bathroom water usage by half. A filled bathtub holds 60 gallons, whereas an average shower uses only about 20. We found another interesting way water is being saved. Let's take a look.
Water, the most plentiful element on Earth, and the most precious of all our resources, serves mankind in many ways. We drink it, bathe in it, and play in it. We use it to help grow our food, produce the products we use, and transport goods and ourselves. Yet few of us know very much about it, how we got it, where it comes from today, and most important, how we can preserve its quality for the generations to come. Amtrol, an international company with headquarters in West Warwick, Rhode Island, has taken steps to expand the public's knowledge of water. The company has made a heavy commitment to education through its Center for Education and Technical Development. In addition to providing technical training to the groundwater industry, the center offers public awareness seminars. At these seminars, the public, federal and state energy and water resource agencies, departments of health, and the media are given a new perspective on threats to the environment and what can be done about them. Few understand that the Earth does not make new water. It just recycles water molecules that were created when the planet was formed a few billion years ago. Most of our fresh water, however, is not being used. 77% of it is frozen in the polar ice caps. Another 22% lies hidden below the surface of the land. It's stored in a vast interconnected system of rock fractures and aquifers, enough to last 200 years if the recycling of water should stop tomorrow. Only 0.6% of our fresh water is on the surface of the Earth, in rivers, lakes, and reservoirs. Yet, in our quest for water, we use 6 times as much from surface supplies than we do from underground. The fact is, surface water and groundwater are linked into one vast system. Up to 50% of the flow of our rivers is from groundwater sources. Groundwater, especially those aquifers in fractured bedrock, are generally pure. It is only when water nears the surface that it is vulnerable to contamination. One of the alternatives to surface water is to tap the large supply underground. It is estimated that only 2.2% of all groundwater is polluted. We are now able to locate and drill wells that deliver flows from 100 to 1 million gallons per day. Regulating the amount of water we take from these underground sources could give us an endless supply. They are constantly being replenished by nature, but taking it too quickly could drain their reserve. Amtrol's Center for Education supports the professional with continuing education in applications of new technology to help industry supply America with abundant, pure water from wells. Because of the lack of understanding about groundwater characteristics and availability, state and local water resourcing authorities continue to build dams and reservoirs to utilize surface water only. Until we use the full benefits of our water supply and stop dumping our waste where it can get to it, we stand a good chance of losing this precious gift, the gift of abundant, pure water.
A little more than 10 years ago, the number of non-industrial landfills in the United States was 20,000. Today, that number is less than 6,000. Today's environment discovered some unique ways our vacant landfills are being put to use by communities all over the country.
The food we eat, the packages it comes in, the containers that take it away, becomes our garbage, our waste. We are a throwaway society because of packaging from the products we buy. Some of the solutions to solid waste disposal can be found through waste management. First, we can reduce the amount of waste at the source by eliminating the use of products that have excess packaging. We can also reuse what we have or recycle it into a new product. Composting is a way to dispose of organic materials like food and garden clippings, which provides an excellent source of fertilizer around our home. Through the recovery of methane gas in our landfills, we can generate electricity. Landfills are an essential part of the waste management cycle in that waste residues that cannot be reused or recycled must be disposed of. An important step is to construct modern landfills. Where Envirotech, a full-service consulting firm of engineers and scientists, has been providing environmental solutions to waste problems for over 25 years. They help communities implement improvements and innovations for source reduction, reuse, recycling, composting, and recovery. They also use their experience to design waste disposal facilities. The double composite liner system is comprised of 2 separate liners and collection systems. Each liner is a composite of a compacted soil layer below a high-density plastic. The leachate collection systems include clean sands and gravel with slotted plastic pipes draining to a pumping removal system. In some areas where material recycling facilities, or MRFs, have been built, the unseparated waste is delivered for sorting into glass, plastics, aluminum, ferrous metals, and paper. They're then transferred to recycling operations to be prepared for markets. When sorting is complete, all the organic material is processed on site or sent to a composting facility. The compost can be sold as industrial or residential fertilizer or used in reclaiming land. Some organic waste can also be combined with sludge to produce soil or soil cover. The waste left over from the material recycling facility and the pre-sorted garbage from curbside pickups is transported to a landfill or incinerator. At the landfill site, the waste residue is compacted and the site developed. A double composite base liner should be used to contain and control liquid from leaving the landfill and entering surrounding groundwater. A system collects liquid from landfills, then it is treated or processed. The water is tested for quality, then released into ponds or streams. It can also be used for irrigation or sprayed at landfills for dust control. Elaborate gas collection systems are designed and developed so that the methane gas produced at the landfill can be used for energy, like electricity and heat at nearby greenhouses, or as fuel for adjacent industrial processes. Years later, when the landfill reaches capacity and is capped, the land is reclaimed for recreational uses. New solutions to generate less waste and designing safe landfills is helping to protect our environment.
Beverage containers account for more than half of all the packaging we throw away. While paper, glass, and aluminum are now widely recycled, there's still places that don't have complete recycling programs. Here's someone pitching in to make no-excuse recycling a part of their community.
People must get involved in environmental issues like recycling that really make a difference. The community of Kingsport, Tennessee is making a difference that can happen across the country. Kingsport is a town of 36,000 and home for Eastman Chemical Company, Tennessee's largest private employer. Here, 12,000 people come to work every day and produce large quantities of plastics, chemicals, and fibers, and the waste that accompanies it. So, a comprehensive program to minimize waste was established through source reduction, recycling, and treatment. A recycling center was built adjacent to Eastman to serve the entire region of 500,000 people. The Recycle America Partnership is the first known instance in which an industry initiated such efforts to provide for community recycling needs, as well as its own, by sharing its resources. A computer spreadsheet model for simulating a curbside collection program was developed for city governments. The model analyzes costs that a community would incur and calculates how planners can maximize collections efficiently. Eastman has shown genuine concern for finding solutions to environmental problems. They're the world's largest producer of polyethylene terephthalate, or PET, a plastic used in making soft drink bottles. Recycling is an important part of their business. 1.6 billion pounds of PET is provided each year to blow molders who make bottles for soft drink containers and other packaging. That is a lot of plastic bottles. So where do all the empties go? Most people believe they end up being a large part of our landfill problem. In reality, that is not the case at all. The truth is, plastic soda bottles make up less than 1% by volume of our overall solid waste stream, and that percentage is getting smaller. What happens to the rest of the soda bottles? They're recycled, making them the most environmentally compatible plastic developed to date. Over 30% of all PET soft drink containers in the United States are being recycled annually. First, they're collected through retail deposit return outlets and then baled and made available for sale to plastic recyclers. At 9 recycling facilities, bottles are shredded, ground into chips, cleansed, and sold to manufacturers to make a variety of products such as carpet fiber, strappings, injection molding compounds, and new bottles from post-consumer PET. Sorting systems enable processors to identify and sort plastics faster, less expensively, and with fewer errors than existing sorting methods. The new technology has the potential to revolutionize the plastics recycling business. Improvements in another technology called methanolysis are expected to increase the range of possible feedstocks and produce high-quality raw materials. Methanolysis is a chemist's word for a process of reclaiming raw materials so they can be used again and again to make more soda bottles. Recycling of plastics has come a long way, and further developments continue through advances in technology. That completes the circle, or closes the loop from bottle to bottle. And that's good news for everybody.
Our country, America the Beautiful. Well, it's a big job keeping it that way. Over 2 billion scrap tires have accumulated in dumps, ravines, and roadsides across America. Today's environment search for ways this and other environmental issues are being addressed.
During the 1880s, the great age of lumbering had come and gone on Michigan's lower peninsula. Vast pine forests were destroyed. Nothing was left but stumps. It was truly an environmental disaster. However, while building hydroelectric plants around the turn of the century, Consumers Power Company recognized the problem and initiated a project to restore the pine forests. They have planted more than 26 million trees and participated in many other projects over the years. The company is one of the most environmentally sensitive electric utilities and operates some of the cleanest burning fossil-fueled power plants. With holdings of more than 50,000 acres, much of it wetlands along rivers and lakes, Consumers Power Company is Michigan's largest private landowner. It has also grown to become the nation's fourth largest electric and gas utility company, serving more than 6 million people. During the last 25 years, the company has invested over $1 billion in equipment and programs to benefit the environment and wildlife habitat. But even more important, a philosophy has been adopted that encourages its employees and neighbors in the community to take an active role in environmental and wildlife preservation programs. Employees devote considerable time, some of it on their own, to work on wildlife projects. For example, these members of the Plant Environment Enhancement Team breed pheasants for release into the wild. If just 2 from this group of 25 hens survive to hatch their offsprings, next year's pheasant population could double. Area Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts use the company's land for hiking and camping. They're also helping to clean up after other people who have used and abused the land. Concerned groups are keeping track of bird species that are declining, such as the bluebird, kestrel, and also Kirtland's warbler, which is on the endangered species list. As a member of the Wildlife Habitat Enhancement Council, the company supports various wildlife habitat preservation projects at several of its power generating plants. For example, at the BC Cobb plant, 200 wood duck nest boxes were built and placed on company utility poles along a 4-mile right-of-way across the Muskegon State Game Area. This project involved employees, local environmental groups, hunters, and high school students. Employees at the Campbell site planted vegetation on the dunes for protection of nesting birds, including mallards, wood ducks, and osprey. Working with 3 chapters of the Audubon Society, the company planned and developed a 10,000 square foot nesting habitat on an ash pile at the Carn Weddock site. And at the Whiting plant, employees worked to improve upland nesting habitats for pheasants and waterfowl. Women from the Monroe Garden Club also got involved when the American lotus plant was found on marshes at the Whiting site. They buried seeds in mud balls and tossed them into the marsh as part of a reseeding project for this rare plant. This sign was erected for the benefit of a red fox who took up residence in the fields around the Whiting plant. A bald eagle is also living on the land, which symbolizes the need for preserving our natural resources and wildlife habitats. Yet another example of a company working with nature to protect our environment.
Imagine an energy source with no air pollution, no contribution to global warming or acid rain. Sound too good to be true? Solar cells operating at only 25% efficiency and covering just 1% of the land area of the U.S. could supply all of our energy needs. Now that's something worth imagining. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join me next week as we explore more environmental solutions on Today's Environment.
This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.